Find us on the web at smacology.42web.io. There you can find our latest episode, or you can support the podcast by following our affiliate links at the top of the page. You can even buy some awesome Smacking Off merchandise. Again, that is smacology.42web.io.
We're here at Commonwealth Stadium, representing for the Kentucky Wildcats, right against the Georgia Bulldogs, right? And I'm live here, and there's fun and excitement going on. I know you can see that. This is Smacking Off, the podcast.
Hi, we're Fiverr, a global marketplace connecting individuals and businesses with freelancers offering thousands of digital services. Graphic design, web development, video editing, e-commerce marketing. You name it, there's a professional freelancer ready to make it happen. Filter your search by the service needed, budget, timeline, and boom! Fiverr provides a list of talented freelancers to meet your specific needs. Always know what you'll pay up front. No hourly rates, just project-based pricing. And because payment isn't released until you approve the work, you can rest assured that you'll be satisfied with the quality and get exactly what you want. Our support team is always available to answer questions or offer assistance when you need it. With the whole world of freelance talent at your fingertips, what might you achieve? Join today and find out. Fiverr. It starts here.
Janelle Holloway, the leading rusher for Oklahoma, almost 5.5 a carry, has -8 on 5 rushes. Home run ball.
And now,
Smacking Off the podcast.
All right.
What's going on, guys?
how's everybody?
I'm doing good. What about you, Big Daddy?
I'm all right. I'm off camera because my battery's low. I got one of them weird round charger things.
Oh, yeah. That's exciting and new, like the Love Boat. But that really doesn't rank with being on the potty while you're on the podcast. And there's Sean Devine, by the way. Welcome to Smacking Off the Podcast. We have our producer.
Oh, sorry about that. Sorry about that, Bob. I added that graphic. Sean's not here yet.
Oh, okay. And then we're here with
I wasn't thinking about that, but
and then we probably will be joined by our key contributor, Sean Devine. So how's it been going for you guys?
oh, it's a regular off season, man. Nothing to fucking talk about in sports, except we got college baseball creeping up.
College baseball's creeping up. It's ramping up. What do you think?
I mean, it's going, but it hasn't become important yet.
There you go. Now, do you think what's that?
Go ahead.
Do you think the money from all this CFP stuff is going to hold up sports like college baseball?
Oh, come on, Ed.
Yes, because I don't think there's any logical legal argument to not pay these players.
Yeah. I mean, that is if they can sell their likeness, right?
Exactly. That went all the way back to Ed O'Bannon at UCLA. Like, hey, you can't have a jersey with my name on it in the college bookstore and not pay me.
So you're saying that the baseball players aren't getting their cut?
I mean, at some point though, you're going to have to look at what revenue the sports that you're participating in generates. I mean, if you give everybody exactly the same, that's probably not going to fly. You agree?
It won't. And the money is coming basically from the same people that were paying illegally, and now they can do it legally. And the money's never been there in a sport like college baseball.
Right.
We are now joined by Devine.
Hey, sorry, we had some Wi-Fi troubles, gentlemen. Good evening.
Good.
What's
Good
going on?
evening.
Not too much. Kind of
Well, Go
Quiet
ahead.
week in sports. So let Ed go ahead. I'm interested in what he's having to say.
Yeah.
I
Ed,
just I don't
get
think
Sean up
the
to
money's
date.
not there in college baseball. And if they try to throw Title IX in there and say, well, you got to give the women all the same amount of money, it is a capitalist system where the people that are bringing in the revenue are the ones that should get most of the money.
Yeah, but college campuses right there are ate up with equity, not equality, but equity, right? And that's what everybody's
Yeah.
fighting
You know
for.
what the difference between equality and equity is, don't you, Ed?
Equality has to do with opportunity. Equity has to do with
Opportunity,
outcome.
equity has to do with result.
With outcomes, right?
Outcome.
So basically, one says everybody gets the same opportunity. Equity says everybody should get very close to the same result.
Right. So if college baseball takes off, and I'm gonna give you an example, right? Now, so this year Caitlin Clark and then Reese in the women's college game got some big ratings because of the fact that there was literal lots of flat smack talk, and there was even physical altercations during some of the games of the ranked teams that played this year, and it got a lot of press. So now that WNBA draft also got a lot of attention, and now they might can ask for some more money because will it be equal to the men? No, but they're getting more attention, so therefore they could ask for more money. But until they got more attention, in my opinion, there was no way to give them more money.
That's exactly right. And baseball doesn't get the attention.
Right. But it could catch fire. So if you're baseball, what do you do? Because it's an apple pie kind of thing. It's been marketed that way for years. And some people say baseball's in decline because inner city kids aren't playing baseball the way they used to. And in the college game, even though you do have Hispanic players and players that are basically exchange students from the Caribbean and so forth like that, those players aren't really in the college game in general. So the college game is a hard sell outside of the heartland. Would you agree, Sean?
Yeah, well, and I also think that uh, you have a competing, uh, level of baseball in that, you know, you have minor league baseball, and if the dream is to get to the show, generally it's better to be in minor league baseball than it is to be in college baseball.
Yes.
But for now, NIL can maybe help that. In the past, you didn't have that, so it was, yeah, you get the college education and you can play baseball, but you're not getting the money. Now I think NIL is making that a lot bigger opportunity. But you're going to have some that are good players, versus some of the good players are going to go to minor league baseball out of high school. So you're not getting your best. So it's a somewhat diluted product is the point. I still think it's a very fun product to watch. I watch a lot of college baseball. I think it's great. But to Ed's point, it really does not get the exposure, the love from TV to really.
Yeah, the networks are never going to pay off the way they do for football and basketball.
Well, I
Right.
mean, if I'm not mistaken, football and basketball, they're pretty much paying for everything, right?
Pretty
Yeah.
much. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And there's probably a few exceptions. I know hockey's probably big up north in a few places, and there's probably some hockey programs that turn a profit. But
Yes.
for the
Yeah.
most part, it's baseball. I'm sorry, for the most part, it's football and basketball.
Yep. But there's basketball's even been strong enough to carry a whole little small schools like the parochial schools basketball. But in general, the college football has got a huge thing, and they've been very successful in marketing it and the way they've been building it. And we've been, or even ourselves, milking the controversy of it for years. So if somebody was running college baseball, they should look at college football and say, hey, this is a model how we can build our our product beyond a regional thing. Now I remember days when there were college players that were transcendent, like Frank Thomas, and then Miami and LSU and Auburn had some powerhouse baseball programs that created some great pros.
And there must have been a reason for that. And I'm sure they was paying somebody. So there's some money there, just like in hockey in certain regions. I believe there's some money there. It's certain baseball hotbed.
Sure. I mean, college baseball is fun to go to if you ever go to one. It's a fun time.
Oh yeah.
I believe women's basketball.
I think it's because a lot of the school you can tailgate before a baseball game.
That's a true story. I believe women's basketball is. I mean, I know that some of the programs have been profitable.
It's getting that way, isn't it?
It is. That's going to be cool, and I think everybody benefits.
Yes. Yeah. No, this year, I mean, just shows you the draw, the power that is coming with the women's college game. It was a great product. It was exciting to watch, and anytime you have something like that, people are going to tune in, and that generates revenue.
I agree.
Well, parity has something to do with it. I mean, I don't know if anybody was watching women's basketball like 20, 25 years ago, but there were just like a couple of good teams, and there were really no upsets in the tournament. I remember when Harvard beat Stanford, that was the first actual 16-1. That was a big deal. But, those women's tournament games were pretty predictable back then.
It was
now
when UConn wins 11 titles in a row, that doesn't help.
Right. And before then, it was all about Tennessee and I just the other day, Louisiana, not Louisiana Lafayette, but
Louisiana Tech.
Louisiana Tech, yes.
Yep.
The baby blue uniforms, but they
Auburn used to have a good women's program back in the 90s, I believe.
Yes.
USC.
Yep.
Yeah, I think parity definitely helps. It brings more people into the game and at all different parts of the country.
Absolutely. And they it was even good in Lexington, and they filled Memorial Coliseum many times. The women's program, and they had a few decent years, and they were selling 10,000 and 12,000 tickets a weekend, and that generated plenty of activity downtown around Lexington. And we're happy to see whatever we can get, and when teams like that catch fire, then it starts building and it can sweep through an area. And I believe college baseball can do that too. Now, I'm seeing a little upswing here at home over Kentucky baseball being ranked, and they were highly ranked leading into this week. And I don't know how long that can last, but there's some excitement brewing. People are starting to listen to the radio. When you go places, you hear the voice of the Wildcats in the background. So it's encouraging for me.
It's it's a slow burn to stick with college baseball but when you get to the conference tournament, and then if you make it to the NCAA tournament, it's a blast. It's fun, and if you ever are lucky enough to go to Omaha for the College World Series, that's a heck of a time.
What do you think it costs to do a weekend at College World Series, Sean?
Oof. It's hard to say. I mean, Omaha's a pretty good-sized city, so there's usually plenty of hotels and whatnot. Plenty of restaurants. I mean, it's not too terrible. I don't think. I mean,
how about the titty bars? How many titty bars?
I couldn't tell you that one, but plenty of places to eat and drink for sure. Probably the tickets. The tickets are probably the hardest. Because a lot of those tickets will go.
Yeah.
Still going to be a lot cheaper than going to the Final Four or, college football playoff.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they'll be cheaper than that for sure. Yeah.
So you can do something like a biker event, right? You can camp. You can rent a campsite nearby and drop the trailer and then drive into town and see the games. Pull out your blanket, lay on the lawn. I think it'd be a relaxing, good time. I'm sitting there thinking about it, if you want the truth of it. I bet you if you had a camper and a trailer, you could rent a lot for probably $90, $100 a night, based on my experience out west, and rent a lot for it. Take your truck, go to the game. Probably the tickets, probably like you said, would be hell, but you could probably $100 for two people. You could probably get fed and enjoy your day.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. You know, you could definitely probably get a camp spot somewhere nearby and then head into town for sure.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
that's a great idea, Bob. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So what I'll do is I pull a if I'm me and my buddies we pull like a camper that's got a toy box in it. So not only can you do that, but you can put like 4 motorcycles inside of it, right? So then you can leave on motorcycles. Like I would park it somewhere that was close to like a national park or something like that, where you could cruise all around Oklahoma. Now here's an interesting fact about Oklahoma, guys, that I love. Now, as a libertarian, I believe in the Constitution, the law is the law. And one of the bases of freedom and capitalism is that a deal is a deal, right? So once somebody's made a deal, it's a deal, and that's it, and that's the law. Well, in Oklahoma,
Now hold on. Now Oklahoma's real far from Omaha, ain't it?
oh no, I mean Nebraska. Yeah, Omaha's in Nebraska, but I don't
Yeah.
know why I got. But
Yeah, you just made. Yeah, if Timothy Bailey's listening, we're sorry about that, Tim.
Sorry about that. But anyway, since I got on Oklahoma, I got to say this, guys. So,
Well,
did y'all know the Supreme Court found that the Indians own Oklahoma?
Well, I mean,
Well,
of course.
the
I mean,
farther
They
out
own a lot
west
more
you
than that,
get,
probably. I mean, it
No, they
depends
don't.
on how we're tallying that shit.
Yeah, but they literally ruled, right, that the Native Americans own Oklahoma. Not a piece of it, right? But all of it.
you know, and the
Okay.
farther out west you get, traveling 10 to 12 hours is not a big deal to those folks where, you know, back east, like, oh, no, I can't go to Philadelphia. That's 2 hours away.
Well, it's 2 hours of hell traffic away, though, see? It
Yeah.
takes 2 hours to. I just dealt with a bunch of that in my job of traveling the Northeast, man. Jesus Christ. I'm here to tell you. But yeah, I mean, to Omaha, Nebraska, I mean, there's all kinds of camping opportunities and stuff around here. It's a great event. I'd love to see it. I really would. I'd love to go to it. I think it looks relaxing. Um, I might check it out.
The games are usually pretty entertaining. Um, yeah, it's a good vibe. Kind of a still kind of one of the underrated sporting events in the country that hasn't quite. It's starting to grow in notoriety, but it's not quite there yet. But it's everyone I've talked to that's gone to the College World Series has really enjoyed it.
I bet you they're turning. I bet you that event is definitely turning a profit.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Right, and that's what probably keeps college baseball. They probably lose money during the regular season, but once that playoff thing starts heating up, that's when they start making money in baseball. Probably is my guess.
Well, I think it depends on the conference. You know, I think the SEC regular season and tournament makes money. So does the ACC. Some of the Big 12 and some of the Western schools.
But don't most of those, I mean, and with the exception of these conferences getting, you know, with these teams so geographically far away, but, you know, when baseball teams play like a series, don't they generally travel by bus?
Well, they did when it was all in the same region, right? But they're going to have to do some flying now. I mean, now you could drive a bus to Texas to Austin from Lexington, probably be, what, 13, 14 hours driving on a bus? It might be 15, 16. It might be an overnight stay. That'd be a hell of a bus ride. And just for example, right? I mean,
so tell us about this, Sean. How did this end up in Omaha every year? Did they just agree upon it at some point and never look back?
That's a great question. I'd have to do some more research to give you that answer. It's just always been there, you know. As far back as I can remember.
I mean, I guess that's the center of the country. It's like it's centrally located to everything in the mainland land U.S., right?
But it's not.
Yeah,
I mean, it's got to be reasonably successful. They built a new stadium.
Oh yeah, they make money during that. I guarantee you.
It's been in Omaha since 1950, and
ain't nobody mentioned moving it ever, have they?
In 2008,
the NCAA in Omaha announced a 25-year extension through 2035.
Mm.
I mean, it's perfectly located in the middle of the country for every team to really get to, and Omaha is a decent sized enough city where there's plenty of hotel. The airport's big enough, to get all the planes in and everything. And usually the weather at that time of year out in Nebraska it's hot, but it's not terribly hot. So yeah, it's just, and the complex there, um, is well maintained for the colleges, and when their teams show up, they just built the new Charles Schwab Field there, which replaced Johnny Rosenblatt Stadium.
Yeah, you just brought something up that's interesting about Omaha. Is like an insurance capital of the world, right? You've got like the Prudential, you've got like
We
Mutual
got
of Omaha,
Hartford too.
and a Hartford, and
Woodmen are there. Yeah, there's a ton of them.
And hey, let's not forget. Hey, let's not forget about Omaha steaks either. God damn it!
Oh, that's important. Well, yes. So
Where
it's like
you can get 5 pounds of beef for $100.
Damn, that's not really no good deal. Hell, I could have.
No,
I mean,
yeah, I'd pass on Omaha Steaks myself, but
yeah,
that's
me
just
too.
Unless they sponsor the podcast, then we love them.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah. Now, if I knew everybody was going to show up, right, like over here in West Virginia, there's people that just they don't grade feed their beef; they just let them roam. And he's his own butcher too. And I get a hell of a deal on the side of beef. I throw out the fatted calf, have a big rock and roll party. That's where I get my meat from.
I mean, I'd have to clear my freezer out. I got a bunch of fucking shit in my freezer right now.
Oh yeah,
I ain't never did a side of beef. I've did a side of
oh really?
Of deer before. Some venison.
So, I'm really thinking at some point there's got to be a smacking off the podcast road trip.
Where are we going?
Oh yeah.
Well, we'll just, Omaha's a possibility.
Oh, I just seen the new Roadhouse the other day. Y'all want to go to Key West?
I've never been.
Yeah, Key West sounds great.
Apparently, it's not like I went to Key West when I was a kid, and it was a really nice area. But according to the movie, which I don't know if it's true or not, haven't looked into it, it's gotten a little rough down there.
Damn it, Jim.
That's not actually Key West. It was a different key, but it was close to Key West.
What Mar-a-Lago was it?
Mar-a-Lago was in West Palm Beach, ain't it?
Oh
yeah, I think so. That's further north. Yeah, I'd be down to check out Key West. I think the southernmost point of the United States is down there.
Yeah, we drove down there when I was a kid.
Actually, here's a trivia question. Name the farthest, the most southern, eastern, western, and northern states in the U.S.
Most northern, other than Alaska, is this continental?
United States.
So Alaska is the northernmost and the westernmost because of the Aleutian Islands.
Yep.
So that would be an easy one there. That's two of them right there. And then easternmost, hell,
Maine,
like Maryland or Maine.
I think it'd be Maine.
Probably Maine, right?
Alaska is also the most eastern state because of the Aleutian
it crosses the international date line with the island.
So now, what's the most southern state? Because the Florida is not it.
Texas.
We'd have to be Texas.
Are we wrong?
Hawaii?
Yeah, I didn't even think about Hawaii. Shit. It's just kind of floating out there in the middle of the Pacific, and we don't really know where it lines up with these states, do we?
I've only been to Hawaii once. I didn't get to do nothing. I just watched them refuel my plane, right? And I wanted to. Yeah, I was on Hickam Field, right? And I wanted to go see the ruins of the Pearl Harbor thing and so forth. And they refueled my plane, and I was mad as hell. I didn't get to see nothing. And then we flew on, to Midway and did pretty much the same thing. And then we got in the middle of nowhere at a place called Titty, which Midway was in the middle of nowhere anywhere. And I get off the plane and we did eat MREs. And I'm like, well, what the hell are we going to do? We was on our way to Korea. And I'm like, what the hell are we going to do? And there was a guy come up to me in one of them Cracker Jack outfits. I guess he was a sailor. He must have been like an E1 because he had no stripes. But the guy was like 40 years old. That's why I remember him, right? So he comes up in this Cracker Jack outfit. And I'm like, what are y'all doing for chow? And he pointed over to some woman, and it was an old, stooped-over woman chasing a dog around with a stick. And I said, is that chow? I said, I'm having MREs. And then when we tried to take off, the damn birds were so fucking thick, right, that we had to delay the takeoff until they could use cannons, like special cannons, to scare the birds away.
There you go.
So there's two states, only 2 states in the United States that are bordered by 7 other states. They're both in the SEC and they border each other.
Kentucky and Missouri.
You got one.
Tennessee
and Missouri.
Yeah.
Let's see.
All right.
So we had the NFL draft this week. Did anyone pay attention to the draft?
Absolutely. We are looking good.
Well, first and foremost, the SEC, yet again, most players drafted in the draft. I think they had 59 selections. As far as teams, Michigan had the most players from any team drafted. Notre Dame continues to lead the all-time drafted players mark. I think we're up to now 524, 25.
Damn.
USC, with Caleb Williams being drafted number 1 overall, broke its tie with Oklahoma over most number 1 overall selections. Some nuggets from the draft. Ed, thoughts on the draft for you?
I'm sorry?
Your thoughts?
Well, obviously a whole lot of controversy about the Michael Penix pick. But, I thought that Raheem Morris said it well. He goes, we don't expect to be picking this high for a long time.
Right.
There you
The
go.
only drawback that I see with the Penix pick is that he's already 24.
Sure.
I'm definitely going to get myself a Mike Stanversil Commanders jersey. I think that the Jets did well by getting themselves a tackle. They resisted the temptation to get Brock Bowers, even though he's going to be pretty good. The Bo Nix was a surprise, but that was fear of missing out.
What's that?
The Bo Nix pick was a little bit of a surprise, but that was fear of missing out.
Yeah. I thought Denver reached pretty bad on that one.
But Sean Payton seems to love his analytics on Nix.
On Nix. Hell yeah.
Yeah. I didn't think. I was quite surprised. I think that as many quarterbacks went as quickly as they did.
But Nix wasn't that good at Auburn.
Right. In fact, he was kind of bad at Auburn.
You know what?
Yeah, we called him Bo Picks when he was down at Auburn.
Is he a system quarterback from Oregon?
Oh, he could be, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to find out here real soon because I think he's probably going to be their day 1 starter in Denver.
Because you got Harrington, Akili Smith, Marcus Mariota. I mean, there's a long line of Oregon quarterbacks that did nothing in the NFL.
But then they have Dan Fouts, who's a Hall of Famer.
I will say this: him moving over to Oregon was the best move he could ever fucking made, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Because he wasn't going to get drafted from Auburn.
Well, he might have, but
No.
it would have
I
been
mean,
like
yeah, it
the
wouldn't have been like this.
sixth or seventh round, and then you're or maybe an UDFA, the undrafted free agent.
Definitely
Yeah.
no big signing bonuses, nothing like that.
Right. Yeah. So him
What?
going to Oregon was not only smart for results on the field, but also for his soon-to-be wallet.
No,
Yeah, and I
consider
think Dylan Gabriel has a shot at the Heisman.
Out
Well,
in that system, yeah.
Nick's is going to be able to use this money. He's got kids that he needs to start paying for. That's the word on the street. We'll have to have Landon on one day to talk about it.
Well, nothing wrong with that. Spending the money on the kids,
Right.
But yeah, it was a very smart decision for Bo Nix to get out of Auburn and go to Oregon and flourish. And now he's a first round draft pick. But now the pressure's on to perform out in Denver.
So do you think he's going to play over what's that one they just got from fucking Seattle? God damn, I can't remember his name. But
They have Stidham and Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
So what happened to the other one that they just picked up from Seattle?
Oh, they traded Russell Wilson to Pittsburgh.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I can't believe I didn't remember that.
So yeah, it's Jarrett Stidham, who's kind of been a journeyman backup. Zach Wilson, who was the starter and backup in New York, and now the first round pick Nick. So to me, he's got to have a great shot coming out of training camp as the starter.
He could, yeah. I mean, it's possible that Stidham starts for like 4 to 5 weeks.
Sure.
And then when everybody goes, oh, yeah, he's still terrible. That,
Right. Yeah. I don't think it's a great situation right now in Denver. I guess they really wanted a quarterback, and I guess Peyton thinks he can work with Nick. So we'll find out. But yeah, I didn't necessarily love that pick, and I know we had the pick right afterwards. I did not want Bo Nix to be drafted by the Raiders either. So it's not me saying that because I wanted Bo Nix. I did not. There were 2 quarterbacks I liked, and I knew we weren't going to get them. So I'm very happy with getting the best player available on the board at the time, which is Brock Bowers, who's probably the most decorated tight end to ever play college football. So, and you watch his film, he's just a difference maker in that he's a mismatch problem on a number of levels. He's generally too fast to be guarded by a linebacker, and he's generally too big to be covered by a cornerback or even a safety, unless you have a big safety. But yeah, he presents a lot of problems. And then with already having, Mike Mayer, who's no slouch there, the Raiders can run a lot of 12 personnel and have 2 tight ends on the field.
Aiden O'Connell's got some talent.
He's got the talent.
Say this, Sean.
He's got to be protected because he can't move. He's stuck in 12-pound boots. So when he tries to run,
I'll be ecstatic to watch Brock Bowers in Vegas instead of Athens.
Right. Well, sure. Yeah. You're happy he's just gone out of
Absolutely.
Oh, God.
But yeah, I'm excited to see him and Mayer on the field at the same time because that's just a big size mismatch. Both of them have big catch radiuses. Both have great hands. And then with Bowers, he's got good blockers. And then with Bowers, he's got the speed that he can stretch the defense from that that slot tight end seam. So yeah, if O'Connell can make the throws, these guys will certainly catch the ball for you.
You got to look out for O'Connell's favorite target in college in fantasy this year.
Who's that?
Charlie Jones.
Charlie Jones. Is he? Who's he with?
The Bengals.
The Bengals. That's right. Yeah. Now the Bengals got some protection for Joe Burrow. They took a nice, good-sized tackle to hopefully protect Joe so he doesn't get hurt again. And with Jones and T. Higgins and help me out, Jamar Chase. that's a lethal passing attack they have in
Higgins still trying to get out of town.
I don't think I don't think they're going to make that move. I mean,
No, I don't think so either.
unless they get a real big sweetheart deal from somebody, I think he'll be wearing the orange and black next fall.
Yeah.
But that's going to be such a great division to watch next fall. I'm really excited to see that division, the AFC North. I mean, 2 games above 500 might win that division.
Well, I
because
don't know
they tend to beat each other up.
Ever gonna be what he was in Houston?
I don't think he will either. But you look at that Browns defense. That defense is going to keep them in games. I mean, it's a ferocious defense. Their problem, the Browns, is scoring the football. The Steelers bolstered their defense and their offensive line, and they'll try to get back to the old Steeler way of running the football, I think, instead of making, Russ will be the starter going in, but I don't think they're going to have Russ try to win the games at this stage in his career. I think they're going to try to, play a balanced attack and really focus on running the football and playing defense, and obviously the Ravens are still there. They're a damn good team, and the Bengals are there. So that division is going to be really fun to watch this coming fall.
Shades of 1980.
Really, yeah, really. I mean, it's going to be. I think it's going to be a great season to watch. And like I said, whoever wins that division might win it on the last Sunday of the season.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I have to use the restroom real quick. So
you can just go, Ed. You don't have to.
Ed, yeah, we can't see you on the camera. You could have snuck away, Ed.
Since I'm presently indisposed.
Another division that's gotten it, the 2 North divisions are really exciting. We just talked the AFC North, and the NFC North is really exciting. You got obviously the Packers and the Lions were playoff teams last year, and then the Bears and Vikings just added, true rookie quarterbacks that are highly touted, and you got the Bears drafting Caleb Williams, and the Vikings drafted J.J. McCarthy. So could be some fireworks in the NFC North this year for sure.
Yeah, it's gonna be exciting anyway. I hated that Chicago wasted 2 draft picks like that 2 years in a row on quarterbacks, or so close to each other. But I guess they felt that Fields wasn't going to work out,
Yeah, they really zeroed in on Caleb Williams. They're excited. They think he could be maybe the next, maybe not quite Patrick Mahomes, but similar style, similar results. And they got him weapons. That receiving core there is now looking pretty stout. With they traded last year. They got DJ Moore, and this offseason they got Keenan Allen from the Chargers, and then they drafted later in the first round Rome Odunze from Washington. So that's there's definitely good receivers there for Caleb Williams to throw the ball to.
Now that so it's too bad that Ed is indisposed, because I'd like to talk about what about the Chargers.
I think he's back, ain't he?
He's back.
I'm back.
He's back. Yeah. Well, I love it.
Hey, Ed. Ed, I actually figured this out. I typically take a commercial break, and you was waiting for that commercial break, weren't you?
Yeah.
I waited as long as I could.
We usually get the commercial break.
That's right.
Do we need to take one, Doug?
No.
Okay.
No, I mean it wouldn't do Ed any good now.
Well, I'm 62 years old. I mean, I do go a lot. So
I turned my microphone off about 10 minutes ago and went and used the bathroom.
We wanted to talk to Chargers, but before Ed, I mean, it's great that they got a new head coach who's a Michigan man, whose first draft selection he took a Notre Dame player. So even Jim knows what's going on.
Yeah.
He was real happy when he got Junior Colston, though.
Yes, he was.
So what's going on in college basketball recruiting?
Well, Dusty May's been very busy.
Hell yeah,
Yeah,
that looks like a hell of a team.
Yeah,
You know,
I would fully expect us to make the tournament next year.
yeah, that's a big upgrade. And that's a lot of great. I mean, he was able to use the transfer portal to bring guys in quickly and recruited some guys. I think it's impressive. I mean, there's a lot to
Yeah, I
offer.
mean, you got the guy from Ohio State who probably had to sneak out of Columbus in the middle of the night.
Well, your your top five, if we go by the not the transfer portal, but just high school. Your top five, and I think we're just about done with the high school recruits. The transfer portal is going to be open a little more, and then I think once more before the fall semester starts. So transfer portal is continuously ongoing. But as far as the high schoolers, Duke is number one with 6 commits, and 5 of them are 5 stars. Alabama's number 2. They have 4 commits, 2 are 5 stars and 2 are 4 stars. Arizona's number 3 with 2 5 stars and 2 4 stars. The surprise are the next two. Rutgers is number 4,
Goodness.
and Rutgers has 2 5 stars, a 4 star, and 2 3 stars. And then number 5, finishing it out, is the team that did not win a conference game this year, the Missouri Tigers, who got 5 4-star recruits. So that's your top 5. And then right behind them at 6 is the new Razorback head man, Coach Cal, has 3 5 stars committed to Arkansas. So,
Sean, do you know a guy named Sky in the station?
I'm familiar. Yeah, we know.
Yeah, he's got a message for you. He says, "Shut the fuck up, Devine." You
That's
don't
sweet
know
of
him
him.
that well, do you?
No.
Did you said something about Utah at one point, didn't you?
Yeah, well, you know,
Because he don't forget it.
We're
He's
still
still
waiting on.
he's still celebrating that Sugar Bowl win over Alabama in 2008,
I
like
say,
it happened last year.
They have a national championship in football yet? We're still waiting on that, I guess.
He'd probably tell you they do.
So
the biggest
far,
moment, the biggest
so far,
moment
no.
Utah sports was Utah played Kentucky in the national championship and lost in basketball. Not too
Yeah,
long
that
ago.
was Rick Majerus. Yeah,
Rick Majerus.
Well, yeah, well, that was Keith Van Horn was there, right?
I believe so.
Yes, they had a good team all the way around, and the Cats come back, and Jeff Shepard, Reed Shepard's dad, was the MOP, and they ended up coming back and smoking them in the end. But they, as far as Sky Station goes, how about we'll just go give them all, in the spirit of the podcast, a happy fuck you to Utah for Sky Station.
So let me go ahead and get y'all up to date. According to Sky Station, he says, yes, we do have a. I'm assuming he's talking about national championship. Yeah, we do have one according to the NCAA.
So does UCF. So there's that.
Yeah. Florida State too.
How about Tulane? Do they got one? They should have one for 2008. Goddamn it!
Or 98, right? 98, they were unbeaten.
Yeah, that's what I meant. 98.
98, yeah. That might make a few Vol fans upset, Doug.
Yeah, I know. I know it. Jen, if you're listening, fuck your Vols.
So the CFP, I don't know, is it going to eliminate some of that insane controversy that's happened in our life? I don't remember what year it was, but I think it was like around 93 or 94 that West Virginia was undefeated going into their bowl game, and some people thought they were robbed. I didn't feel they was robbed, but I live close to West Virginia, so I've had to hear from them for years that they think they were robbed. So
didn't they get killed by Florida though?
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, in that hypothetical world, right? Somebody like West Virginia, who hadn't played anybody all year long but was undefeated, would get into the CFP and get crushed on national television in the manner they needed to. Wouldn't y'all agree with that? Maybe.
Say it again, Bob.
So West Virginia would have made the CFP in that year, even though
absolutely.
Right, and they probably would have got crushed in the first round.
We haven't seen anything quite that bad. We did see Oh, what Clemson did to Ohio State, they blank them 31-0. But we ain't seen anything of that to that level. But I mean, expanding the CFP now, we probably are going to see some beatdowns like that.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, I mean, and I think you'll see less Cinderella stories, in the past, like we've seen in the past, just because that having to run the gauntlet of if you're not one of the teams that gets the buys from winning the conference, now you're talking having to win what 4 games. I
Yeah.
mean that's
I think every once in a while you might see a Cinderella get to the Final Four, but they won't win it.
4 games against top 12 teams, and you're going to end up against a top 4 team. I mean, that's just. I mean, if you're lucky enough to win the early games, that's an unbelievable. You don't see shit like that in a regular season. Typically,
There'll be
you don't see
roster
anybody
attrition.
go through four top 12 teams in consecutive games.
No, but you will in the SEC over the next few years, though, because the way that now that Texas and
Oh
Oklahoma
yeah, I know. Looking at the schedules, I mean, I thought Alabama's was tough. Florida's is tough. There's a bunch of them that's got stretches like that.
SEC
right.
could get as many as 5 teams in the playoff.
Wow.
Shit'll hit the fan when a lot of the other fans would hear about that. I don't believe that would happen though. I don't. I think that
3.
I think they'll figure out a way to keep 5 teams from getting in. And I'm not saying crookedly or anything. I'm just I could see 3. I could see 3 from the Big Ten too.
Oh no, it'll be 3. That 3 SEC teams is a slam dunk. I mean, gosh, you got Alabama, Georgia, Texas right there.
it might be 4, to be honest. For sure. I could see 4.
Tennessee possibly could root.
Yeah,
Ole Miss.
Sure. It wouldn't surprise me if they got in any given year 5 and even 6. Same with the big,
dude, that is not going to be popular if that happens.
Well, and the Big Ten will get a lot in too now with having all the the West Coast.
That was my thought too. Is that the Big Ten's going to get? I mean,
so you'll have the guaranteed the Big 12 and ACC champs, and then the one group of 5. So then you're talking nine slots to play with.
What would have been the numbers this year? What would the SEC have got in, and what would the Big Ten have gotten in? We'll have to pull up a.
Well, you have Alabama and Georgia for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Texas, Ole Miss, I think, would be in.
Yep.
So that's 4.
Well, Texas wouldn't be counted this year, though.
Well, I mean,
unless
if we're using this past year, but in the future construct is what I'm.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. How about the Big Ten?
2.
Michigan and
Ohio State.
And Iowa.
Maybe, but Penn State might have gotten in the top 12.
Penn State would have been in. So 3. I don't think Iowa would have got in.
No.
I know they played in the Big Ten title game. But that's simply because of the geographical nature of those divisions. They didn't have the record as a whole to break into even the top 12.
Yeah, when you have one of the worst offenses in the country, it's hard to justify.
Look what happened.
But you would add
35-0 by Tennessee, who has a backup quarterback playing. Now he's going to be good, but
now we would add to Michigan, Ohio State, and Penn State. You would add Oregon and Washington.
Right.
So
that would have
you'd have 5 from the Big Ten, 4 from the SEC, and then your 3 required ACC, Big 12, and group of 5, which would have been Liberty. So, and I don't think anyone thinks that Liberty would have gotten out of the first round. I mean, Oregon just shellacked them, in the Fiesta Bowl.
And that could have been the matchup.
Right. That likely would have been the 5-12
5-12 game.
in Eugene. Yeah, I don't think Liberty's getting out of there with a win.
Nah.
So yeah, I mean, on any given year, you could have 5 either SEC or Big Ten teams, or 4, and then the other 3 teams that are required to get in. Pretty much every year. I mean, that's the way it's kind of gone with those 2 conferences expanding, and not only expanding but bringing in the best brands. So
would have Louisville have been in the CFP last year? No, it would have been Florida State.
No, I don't think so.
State. It would have been Florida State.
Florida State would have got the ACC's slot.
Hell yeah. The possibility that Louisville could get into CFP is I find very interesting. So
they would have been in the running till very late, though.
Well, they would have had to have beaten Florida State in the ACC championship game, which even with Florida State not having their starting quarterback, they couldn't get the job done.
But they put up 3 points.
Right. Yeah.
And that was a terrible fucking game to watch, wasn't it?
That was a rough watch.
It was.
But I think it'll be good. I mean, I think the playoff it'll be exciting. It'll be exciting in a different way. You probably see less upsets, but you'll see as the tournament progresses along, some as you get to the final 8 and 4, probably some really good games.
They'll definitely be the champion. Whoever wins it, it'd be hard to dispute that they're the fucking champion.
I mean, absolutely. That is done. You won't hear no more shit like that.
Yeah, there will be no more disputes. It'll
especially if the champion is one of the teams that starts in the opening rounds. Because I mean, you're going to have like Sean said, you're going to have to go through four top 12 teams consecutively.
That's a gauntlet. That's a gauntlet. I mean, so I mean, I think it'd probably be the teams that get that first round bye. That's going to be very helpful. And then they they'll be able to watch, see who they're going to get and kind of do a little advanced scouting, which will that makes a bit of a difference versus you got to play that first round game. Okay, then you got to. If you win and you're a home team, at least you're at home. But if say you're a road team and win, okay, you got to go home, and and then you got to start prep for that next week's game and opponent. I mean, it's going to be tough for the teams that have to play that first week and then be prepared while the other team is getting rest, getting prepared themselves. So I would be surprised if one of the conference champions that get the bye don't win at all.
Yeah, I would agree.
Just for those,
I would agree, but there's always that outside chance that we'll see something fucking strange.
I mean, that's why they play the games. That's why it makes it exciting. But I would be very shocked to, like Doug said, if you're one of those first round teams that got to play and you got to go all the way to, what do we say, Monday, January 18th or 19th is the championship game.
Yep.
That's a long road. That's a lot of football against a lot of good football teams.
Hell yeah. And a lot of people getting injured and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, think about that. Like say Florida State didn't have their quarterback get injured, but then you get in and he gets injured in the second playoff game. Like if there's injuries during these playoffs, that's going to be tough. I think Bob makes a great point.
So with more teams in it, do you think you'll start to see some top players opting out of the whole thing?
I don't think anybody's going to opt out of this.
Yeah, I think if you're in the tournament to win a national championship, I don't think you're opting out. I would be pretty surprised.
Yeah, but
I think you're still going to see opt outs in bowl games, absolutely. But
yeah, the non-playoff bowl game, sure, but the top 12 in that playoff tournament, no, I don't. Have we seen any from the CFP? The current construct, the 14. I don't think we've seen anybody.
I can't think of any.
I can't either.
Neither can I. So yeah, I don't foresee it. It's possible, certainly. I mean,
I think it's a bad sign if you do start seeing it. It's definitely not good. I mean, it's gonna. I guess it's gonna mean that the interest is not that high, and the hype
the
is
interest is going to
not
be
there.
through the roof.
That's what I'm thinking. So I just don't see it happening.
yeah, I don't. Yeah, I think the anticipation for this, tournament is through the roof, and I think most football players that are on those teams are they're going to be just amped up and excited to play in it. I would be very surprised if you see opt outs.
And that selection show is going to be, I mean, everybody's going to watch that.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody already was, but now it's going to be fire. I mean, with 12 spots, we're already going to know what a lot of them are, but there's going to be that question mark in probably the 8 to 12 range.
And then you will have the gripes of the 13 and the 14th teams.
Yeah.
It'll be like selection Sunday for college basketball. We thought we had done enough to get into the tournament, and we didn't, and so that'll be fun.
That controversy. Controversy is part
It'll
of the game.
It'll fall a little more on deaf ears because probably 13 or 14 will have 3, maybe 4 losses.
Yep.
So you won't feel it. You'll be like, well, why didn't you win 2 more games versus, a 1 loss or a no loss team? You have a little bit more empathy towards them,
and you're going to see some teams with better records than that, but did not play a tough schedule that's going to get left out, and you're definitely going to hear from those guys too.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Like if a team like Memphis doesn't win their conference.
Yeah, and it's probably have to be unbeaten or 1 loss at most, because simply look at the Big Ten, the SEC, and I'll even throw the Big 12 in there with them. They've really expanded. Those are going to be gauntlet schedules. I mean,
tell me this: there's no way that you're getting 2 Group of 5 schools in, right?
I don't think so.
And that's you know what? It would be funny if this fucking year we get 2 undefeated Group of 5 teams.
Oh man,
I would love that because I'm one of these guys. I think it needs to be the top 12 teams, and we need to try our best to figure out who they are. That's the way I look at it.
So just rank
the
them
way they've got it set up, and they've got 1 Group of 5 team that's able to get in, and I would love to see 2 Group of 5 teams go undefeated, and they have to pick one of those teams and leave the other out because that's going to prove what I'm saying. That picking the 12 best teams, it may seem like something that's going to keep the Group of 5 teams out, but at the same time, it could actually prevent one from getting in.
Now, if you're a school like Marshall here, and you just make the CFP, which is possible, it's possible. Now, I'm not saying this is the year, but it is possible because of the kind of program they have that Marshall could be that team. Now, Huntington would blow up. It would explode. I mean, the fans wouldn't care where they'd be playing with house money, right? Now, historically, has there been Marshall teams that beat top 12 teams? Yes, absolutely. Sean knows that only too well, and so does Jordan. But they,
oh yeah,
it can happen, right? So there's hope, right? And that's why I respect the format of the new, because even though it's not much hope, it is hope, right? For little schools like Marshall, that they can be on that big stage at least.
I've seen years where I thought that there were 2 Group of 5 teams that were top 10. Yeah. It's been a while, but I've seen it happen.
It's too bad that you can't get because there's just not enough time unless they would do it with their schedules. But what should really happen would be the group of 5 conferences. It's too bad they don't have like a couple weeks at the end of the season to have
a way to eliminate
right,
to put them up against each other before
their own mini playoff of their conference champions. Okay, whoever wins this, that gets the group of 5 bid into the CFP.
Now that's what happened though, in a way, when they were AA, except they didn't go on to the BCS. but they most of those schools were formerly AA schools and played a national championship. And if you look at this format, it's very similar to the AA national championship, what it was.
Because if we look at, last year, Liberty, was the highest group of 5, team, and they got the Fiesta Bowl bid. But as I look at it,
there were better group of 5 teams.
Yeah, I think
Coastal.
I think SMU would have beat them, and they were 11-3.
Yeah, but they laid an egg in their bowl game.
Who did?
SMU.
So did Liberty.
Well, they didn't. SMU might have laid an egg in their bowl game, but they didn't get destroyed by Oregon either.
No,
Liberty
but they played Boston College, so.
Yeah.
Boston College is a decent program. They're not terrible. I mean, and that was basically a home game for BC there in
It was
Fenway
the Fenway
Park.
Bowl, yeah.
And also the weather was perfect for BC. Cold, rainy, and drizzly. SMU's coming up from sunny Texas. It's like.
All right, what do we got to talk about next Sunday, guys?
Well, we can
Baseball?
talk about how great the Reds are.
Oh.
Well, we got the Kentucky Derby to talk about.
Oh, the Derby, yes.
Derby's next weekend.
PGA's coming up.
PGA Championship's coming up for
Indy
sure.
500.
College baseball keeps rolling.
Yeah, the hits keep coming, man.
Yeah. And the Coach Cal taking Kentucky's team with him to Arkansas. He's recruited 3 5-stars. And then Pope is starting over at Kentucky. And they're making a big deal of it. And we should talk about that. I think we should talk about the Arkansas fans crowing, because I already know what's going to happen based on past history. But they're crowing, and they're having their little moment in the sun through the recruiting. But good luck to him. Right?
Well, he comes into a great NIL situation for sure. You got, Jerry Jones is a donor. You got John Tyson at Tyson Foods there. You got the Walton family at Walmart. I mean, if NIL's a big deal these days, Arkansas shouldn't have a problem utilizing NIL to get some talented players there.
Oh yeah, so there's always something to talk about, and that's the big controversy is that of course we rate him off in Kentucky. They act like it's not a Patino situation.
Oh yeah, no, Kentucky could have kept him if they wanted to keep him.
Oh yeah, we definitely will. We rate him off. The results weren't there. I think that he'll shine for a minute there, and they'll fall off just the same, because when you can't scout teams to even play against the zone, then you can give them any players in the world. They say it's it's Jimmy's and Joe's and not X's and O's, but so when you drill somebody as hard as Calipari does to do things a certain way, right, and then you're on them hard when they don't do it, yet it's the wrong thing, right? So therefore you can't win. So I don't believe the man can coach in game, and no matter how much young talent he's got, none of them are strong enough to carry a team on their own. And I mean, there's no of the class he got and the guys he took with him. He don't have 5 Anthony Davises.
And I don't see him doing anything down there that he wasn't doing at Kentucky. So
right.
Real quick before we close, just checking as we're going to start really getting turned up with college baseball. We have 8 SEC teams in the top 25, and if we go by next year, it'll be 9 because Oklahoma's in there. So SEC baseball is alive and well and thriving, and dominating the top 25 poll.
And Texas has a very strong program too.
Right, they're in the kind of like others receiving votes category right now.
Yeah. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Alabama's only trip to the College World Series final game was against Texas, and it was in 1983, and Alabama lost.
That sounds right. In '83, Texas had a hell of a team.
Yep.
That,
I think they had some MLB stars on that Texas team. I think Roger Clemens might have been on that team.
I believe you're right about that. That might have been, was it either Sandy or Roberto Alomar?
Yeah, I mean, Texas is usually low. I mean, so yeah, SEC baseball is really going to, next year when Oklahoma and Texas join, is going to just, almost the entire top 25 will be SEC teams because it's such a great conference for baseball.
There you go.
All right, so we jump into all that next week, and I will talk to you guys on Sunday.
Sounds
All
good.
Gentlemen, have a nice week. Take care.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you for supporting Smacking Off the podcast on the X's and O's network. Be sure to keep up with our scheduled live casts and other presentations on Facebook at Smackologists or at Smacking Off, and on our YouTube channel at Smacking Off the Podcast.